Welcome back, everybody, to Hoops HD Championship Week Video Notebook Day number three. Is it,
Three.
Griggs?
I think it's three. I hope it's three.
Wow.
That's what I don't know. I think it's
No.
three. Yeah.
Okay, day number three. I'm your host, Chad Sherwood. We got David Griggs over there, Rocco Miller from joining us from Bracketeer.org, John Salika as well. And we're here to go over everything and anything that happened in college basketball today. How about that? Not bad.
Yeah. Mostly the conference tournaments, but yeah.
Most of the conference tournaments, we'll hit on some other stuff. We've got some stuff we'll do at the end. But I figured we start by letting everyone know this is our Championship Week video notebook. And for anybody that is worried, for anybody that has a dog or a small animal that goes outside, little children, anything, do not fear. Griggs is in the puppet
I
bunker.
I'm going to get at Grok. You made a video on Grok, and then Grok tried to say it wasn't a fake video,
It wasn't,
even
it
though
was a
he
real video. It
faked
was
it.
you celebrating how much you love being in the puppet
I
bunker,
hate being
Griggs.
in here. God. Anyway, you
Just
gotta
have
let me out of
plenty,
here.
plenty of whiskey to go, Griggs. You're gonna be fine.
I'm running out. Well, the
I think
think we'll
whiskey is
find
celebrating
good.
his
out.
whiskey today.
Yeah.
We'll find out later if Greg said he liked the Big South's floor. We'll know it's real.
Let's start with some of the regular season games that actually went on today here, real quickly. We'll start when we started the Big Ten there, where we did not see anything in terms of upsets. We saw Purdue, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Indiana all win. USC is playing Washington as we record this, the game they have to have. Although that Rocco, that Purdue Northwestern game,
Oh,
oh wow, was almost an upset.
Northwestern was ahead the whole time. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rocco.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Northwestern jumped out to a early, pretty big lead. I think they were up by 11 right before halftime, and then Purdue just chipped away and made their move late in the second half. But it was looking real dicey, and of course, the whole narrative around Purdue right now, Chad, is how good are they actually after losing to Ohio State quite handily, a little surprising there. Ohio State had not beaten anybody their caliber this year, and then dropping another home game to Michigan State last week as well. So they really just need to taste that victory sauce again tonight, and then we'll see how they respond. Saturday, they play Wisconsin at home, see if they can at least protect home court against the Badgers.
Right. Over in the ACC, Griggs, Miami continued to roll. A nice road win at SMU. SMU might be in a little trouble now, and Cal got a necessary road win at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Cal still with some work to do. Miami's just had a really good year. I mean, they haven't had a loud year, but they've had a really solid year and maybe kind of been overlooked a little bit. But man, that's a solid year. They're going to be in the top half of the bracket.
Uh, St. Louis took care of what they need to in the A10. Villanova took care of things in the Big East. Rocco, I'll throw this one over to you in the American. You've been tracked this all year. UAB completed the perfect road season in the American.
It's the most incredible, improbable, remarkable thing I've ever seen. I think even going back a month ago, they were the only team left unless they were already undefeated. One of the only teams left in the country still undefeated in league play. And then they kept it going a whole nother month to get to the perfect 9-0. Just unbelievable. They're still 1-7 at home, Chad,
One
in
seven.
American.
They got one more home game. We kind of need them to lose it to really make it,
Yeah.
make it almost
And I
as close
believe
to
the
perfect
only
as
the
possible.
only other team that can match 9-0 on the road in conference play is going to be Mother Miami when they go to OU for the Battle of the Bricks on Friday night.
Uh, Salika, and over the Big 12, we almost saw, after all those Big 12 upsets last night, we almost saw another one tonight. Baylor uh, was dominating Houston early, actually.
That's the kind of result where I'm starting to think, okay, if Houston wins this one, are they still even going to be a protected seed at this point, given all their failures to cash in on any of the big chips that were in the Big 12? But fortunately, they at least held serve.
And Griggs, Arkansas took care of Texas very easily today in the SEC.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was a little surprised at how badly they blew them out. Texas had been playing well, and the last time we saw Arkansas, it was a mess.
and we are tracking a game right now that is suddenly down. Colorado State was blowing out New Mexico early in this game. It's still not over yet as we record this, but New
It's
Mexico is
getting
trying to
close.
win their late run. So uh,
Yeah.
if it goes fine before we're done, we can talk about that a little bit. But let's turn to the main
I'm
push
sure
was going
bubble
on.
teams are probably going to be very comforted now that the Rams are probably the hottest team in the Mountain West
Yeah,
right now.
They might not be comforted. The Rams could win this conference tournament and make it a
That's
two
my
big Mountain
point.
West that
yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah. He was being facetious.
Okay. Let's turn to the conference tournament action, and let's start things off in the A-Sun, where it was first round day, and well, Rocco, let me
One
start with
day of
you.
games. One day of games. Yeah.
We had a fun day of games, especially the afternoon games were really fun. The evening games, not quite as good, although North Florida made a late comeback.
Yeah, the opener was awesome. I
Yeah.
got to take in most of that. Jacksonville really rallied to get in position. But Bellarmine closed out at the line and got the late Jacksonville three to just rim off to survive by three. Really interesting matchup there, leading to another very interesting matchup, Chad, because at the end of the season, when the final day was extremely dramatic in the league, Bellarmine had to knock off Austin P for Central Arkansas to not only share the championship, but of course get the number one seed. And everybody in Conway, Arkansas stayed after the game, watched it on the big screen, celebrated, lots of tweets of best friends forever with Bellarmine. Well, guess what? You get to play
Not
your best
anymore.
friends. You get to play your best friends in the first game of your tournament tomorrow. Oh, on Friday.
Friday, actually, a day off. They play the women's quarters tomorrow, so Friday will be that game. Yeah,
Amazing.
Griggs Gulf Coast, North Alabama was close almost all the way. Now Gulf Coast
Yeah.
will get Lipscomb on Friday.
Yeah, a real good effort by North Alabama after a really frustrating season, which followed an amazing season a year ago. But Gulf Coast did get control late. Um, and then talk about a disappointing end to a disappointing season. Eastern Kentucky. Good grief.
They almost no-showed against Stetson, who now gets Austin P. And
Yeah.
Toledo, West Georgia, held off that late run like I mentioned against North Florida, but they'll go up against Queens on Friday now.
I believe that makes West Georgia 1-0 all time in the A-Sun. I'm assuming this is actually the first year they've been allowed to participate in the tournament.
Yeah, quick note there on the bottom, as you can see, if West Georgia does win this thing, because Central Arkansas and Austin P tied for the regular season title, whoever between those two teams actually advances the furthest would get the automatic bid. Uh, I don't think we're going to see that happen. I think West Georgia is done on Friday, so I don't think we have to worry about that, and then worry about the if that's also a tie on all those tiebreakers. West Georgia will just take care of itself, I think.
It
Mhm.
happened that one, Chad, it happened that one year a couple of years ago with
Did
Jacksonville and Jacksonville State.
Yeah, Jack State got to the tournament
Yeah,
via the auto bid after Bellarmine won it.
yeah,
Right.
Bellarmine won it. Yes.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville was the other team in the mix, though, right? I
I,
believe.
I don't remember
And I
that,
thought
but you could be correct.
there was a year also with Stetson made a run in this conference tournament when they would have been ineligible. So there's been some ineligible teams that have made runs in the A-Sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back when Liberty was usually the top.
Hmm.
Uh, let's jump over to the NEC, which was the one conference in quarterfinals. And all four games were going on at the same time. And really, Griggs, we had four really fun games. And maybe we'll start top there. Everyone missed the first half because of streaming issues, but
Yeah,
Chicago State almost pulled off the upset.
streaming issues again at Long Island. Long Island had a very good year, the first place overall team. Really bad year getting streams on the air. The only school other than their opponents, Chicago State, that I noticed that had issues all throughout the year, but they finally did get it up. And this was a good game. And what an effort by Chicago State. Like every time it looked, they kept it close. And every time it looked like the momentum was shifting Long Island's way, Chicago State would go on a run. They had a chance to tie the game, or I can't remember if they were down one or two, but they had a chance to tie the game really late, were called for an offensive foul. And even then they made a couple more plays to keep themselves in it, but that was just I thought a really good effort by Chicago State after having a really frustrating year. They did kind of turn it around in the second half of conference play.
Yeah. Sliga, the other three games, it was almost weird watching it. They were almost all tracking exactly the same, these 5 or
Yes.
6 point leads that just nobody could pull away. But kind of like Stonehill, Wagner, and Mercer were kind of leading all the way and all held on to win.
they all held on to win, but I think now the wild card is because Mercyhurst is still ineligible to go to the NCAA tournament. And if chalk were to hold, you could have Long Island and Mercyhurst, which would in effect give Long Island the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. So your league office is probably hoping the Stoners and either LIU or Wagner at least give the conference a true championship game next Tuesday.
Yeah,
And that's
well,
interesting because that's the first game, that Mercyhurst Stonehill game. And if Mercyhurst wins it, I can't read the notes there, Chad.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
too
yeah, yeah.
dark
I'll
in the
make it
bunker.
nice and simple here. That is the first game on Saturday. If Mercyhurst wins, the second game on Saturday between LIU and Wagner will decide the automatic bid. Uh, and Tuesday night's game will be meaningless. If, however, Stonehill pulls off the upset at Mercyhurst, then Tuesday night's game will be a normal championship game. So,
Mhm.
Yeah,
uh,
I think the upset was really critical for the Lakers because there's only been 2 years of Mercyhurst basketball, Chad, and in their
first ever win.
26, well, yeah, first ever win, but the 26 home games they've played since they've been D1 against D1 teams, they're 22-4, and only two of those losses were in overtime. So very, very tough to go to Erie and win. Really good opportunity for Mercyhurst to get to the championship game.
Yep. And we have seen a ineligible team in Merrimack win this conference
We
tournament
have.
before.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we
If they
talk
get
about
some
Merrimack, that'd be
help,
good too.
if they get some help from Wagner, Chad, we might get the championship game in Erie.
They could. How about that? But, Wagner will have already clinched the bid, and we could see once again the double court storm as Mercyhurst wins the championship, but Wagner gets the automatic bid. And we saw it with Fairleigh Dickinson and
And
Merrimack.
Merrimack.
And what did
That's
Fairleigh
right.
Dickinson go on to do in that NCAA tournament?
I can't remember.
I can't
Uh,
remember either.
a little 16 over one game. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
Mike
they
Todd
knocked.
They
joining
won
us.
a they won a play-in game in Dayton. I remember that. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened after that.
Yeah, yeah. So, Mike Todd joining us just as we're jumping over to the Horizon League, which was in its
Quinn,
four. We already saw on Tuesday night, we saw the Green Bay Fort Wayne game, but the other four of what we're calling the quintuple finals were all played today. Uh, and Rocco, why don't we start at the top there? Because those top two games look like they were blowouts. They were not until late in those games. Wright State and Robert Morris both got game efforts from their opponents.
Yeah, they did. And I think first of all, Robert Morris is just a buzzsaw right now. They haven't lost since January. Getting to play a game at home again and do it in front of the home folks. Youngstown State's not far from Pittsburgh. So, they brought some juice as well. Pretty good atmosphere early. I was watching in the first half. But Robert Morris just too strong the way they're playing right now. Ryan Prather had a great game, 24 points, 7 boards, only one turnover on the night. And all in all, like Darius Livingston's one of the best freshmen. I think he won the Freshman of the Year award yesterday when they put the awards out. This team is a buzzsaw right now. I think they're even though they're the two, I think they're the favorite just the way they're playing and the fact they won at Wright State 2 weeks ago. But they won't play each other until the finals if they do play each other. And in the Wright State game, I think the key there was Dion Nessa is clearly Cleveland State's glue guy, and he just could not get healthy. I think he tried to go during pregame, wasn't cleared to play, missed the last 6 games. That's the big difference from when Cleveland State had a 5 game win streak and then suddenly lost 7 in a row to end the year was not having him available. He's a truly talented, could end up on a high major team pretty soon here. But yeah, Cleveland State just not enough horses to hang with the Raiders without him.
It's appropriate to say Robert Morris has been a buzzsaw because this is a building they've now been calling the tool shed for the past couple years.
Yes.
Uh, the other
Yeah,
two games though,
perfect, perfect.
though today, the Detroit Milwaukee game was a no contest about 3 minutes in and never got close. And the
on
other game though,
point.
which was began close. NKU looked like they were going to start blowing away Oakland in the second half. Oakland made a furious comeback, including hitting a three at the buzzer to cut it to a 1 point final. But Mike, now that you've jumped in with us here, did you get a chance to watch the Oakland NKU game? Any thoughts on that or anything else you saw?
Oh man, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I mean, I'm rooting for my fellow Michigan brethren, and Greg Campen is, he's a long time, he's kind of a legend on this level, and um, I know he and Tom Izzo are very close friends, and when they played each other in Detroit last December, they had these ugly Christmas sweaters. But anyway, that's
I
besides the
remember
point. Yeah, but I noticed here everything was chalk except for this game. Yeah, Oakland season ends, and um, they made a spirited comeback, but they fell just a little bit short, one
that. Yeah,
point
Well,
it was
one
short.
of the
really a
main
disappointing
reasons this
season.
game got close was because NKU had missed, I think, like 4 or 5 free throws in a row at one point. But once they had their 85% foul shooter on the line, they finally got a 4 point lead in the final 10 seconds. And it did end up making the difference. As you noted, Oakland got a garbage three at the end to make the score a little bit closer.
Yep, and that sets up when we'll be back. The last five teams will be going to Indianapolis, beginning with that Green Bay NKU. We'll call it the second
Quarterfinal.
play-in game. I know they're going with the quarterfinal. You can't have one game in the quarterfinal round. I decide that that's just offensive to me for some reason. Uh, but we will have semifinals on Monday and championship on Tuesday. But let's jump over to the OVC, which was featured one of the best games of the day in that first one between SIU Edwardsville and Eastern Illinois. And Rocco, this Eastern Illinois team, uh, they're probably one of the hottest teams out there. This team was on the verge of elimination from even qualify for the OVC tournament. Just so I suddenly turned it on, and I think they can give Martin a game tomorrow.
I think they'll beat
Eh,
them.
oh man, I don't know about all that, but yeah, we'll see. I think they got the big win at Lindenwood a couple weeks or like last
Yeah.
week, and this win over Edwardsville really surprised me. They played them on Saturday. They obviously sandbagged is the word we call it in tennis,
Mhm.
where if you lose a challenge match on purpose, so then you get to play the weaker guy in the real match. We used to do that all the time in practice. That's kind of what they did in the finale. It looks like they lose by 27 at SIUE. It doesn't even look like they belong on the same court, and then they turn around and grind them tonight and go to OT and win. Pretty remarkable. And I mean, Eastern Illinois throughout the year, Chad, they've been in like the 330s, the 340s. They're one of the worst programs. Marty Simmons has got one of the hardest jobs in the country. And for them to even be in this tournament's a big deal. And then to get a win, it's their first postseason win in 6 years. Really, really good stuff there. They played Tennessee Martin last in January, lost by 8, and then they lost by 4 at Martin. So both games pretty close. So maybe you're right. Maybe they'll sneak up on these guys too.
Yeah,
I would have also argued that Marty Simmons had a hard job at Evansville in the Valley several years ago. And
he
keep in
did.
mind, he was within a whisker one year of making the NCAA tournament, but a buzzer beater kept the Aces out that season.
Why is he like so many hard jobs, Salika? It's just nothing but hard jobs for this
Well, he
guy.
played for Bob Knight at Indiana, so it should come naturally to him.
That's true.
The other half of the bracket there, Griggs, Lindenwood got out huge against Little Rock in the first half. Little Rock closed, I think, within three in the second
Yeah, they
half.
got
But
they got as close as
Lindenwood smelled them.
three. This was kind of an ugly game, at least in the first half. But Little Rock did go on a run and show some life, but weren't able to come all the way back. Lindenwood gets the win, so setting up that game against SEMO tomorrow. Um,
State bragging rights.
yeah,
State
uh,
bragging rights. I think Simo is going to roll in this game,
I do
honestly.
too. SEMO might win the tournament. They were my preseason pick to win it all. As good as they were, I'm a little surprised that they weren't a little bit better. UT Martin, I just think that, my God, what a collapse. Part of the reason I think Eastern Illinois is going to win that game, Rocco, isn't so much that I think Eastern Illinois is playing at a high level. It's just that Lindenwood has fallen apart in a degree that I don't even know how it's possible.
Martin is
Linden
falling
was playing
apart.
SEMO.
Martin is falling apart, you mean?
Yeah. Martin. I meant to
Yeah,
say,
Martin.
yeah, UT
Yeah,
Martin
yeah.
has just collapsed incredibly so
They did play poorly in that finale against TSU, losing by 25 on senior day at
on
home, even
senior
though
day.
I think they don't have a senior, so that might be part of the problem.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh, geez.
okay,
All
here we
right.
go.
Yeah.
It is time to revisit the Stairway to Seven. Yes, we'll be doing this every night for a very long time. It was second round night, and our dream of somebody doing the 7 wins in 7 days falls apart on the very second night of the tournament as both the higher seeded teams, James Madison and Georgia Southern, both won. Uh, JMU, Stalika kind of led wire to wire in this one. The Georgia Southern Old Dominion game, though, was a fascinating one. Let me get your thoughts on the first game, first the JMU game, and what you think about them going up against Southern Miss tomorrow.
Well, James Madison basically cruised, so not as many thoughts there. We were keeping an eye on the bottom half because Old Dominion seemed like the likelier candidate to pull off the 7 for 7, and at the very least, it looked like they were going to be able to potentially climb the second rung, but just weren't able to cash in down the stretch against the Eagles.
Yeah, this was amazing though. Rocco, Jordan Battle, 45 points for ODU, but he needed 50.
He did 50. That's exactly right. Yeah, and ODU also, like they were the team last year under Coach Jones that really stayed in the fight for 3 or 4 days. Made some Pensacola noise, trying to, flirt with the possible, but it was not to be this year. And James Madison's a team down the stretch until the final game against Coastal, picked up a 6-game win streak where they beat App State. They beat Toledo in their MAC SBC game. They also took out Georgia Southern and Coastal before they lost to Coastal. So they were starting to find their groove here down the stretch. So it's interesting to see that they still got stuck in the 8 spot. But I think they could be alive for a few days.
Well, we've got those two games there. The Southern Miss James Madison game, the Georgia Southern Arkansas State game. Arkansas State tied for second place.
Yeah, I was about to say that tomorrow we finally get to see a team that showed quite a bit of life throughout the year, and here they are, way down 5 rounds away from winning it.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Mike, over in the Big South, what an upset here. Gardner Webb, their second D1 win of the season, may have avoided the Centenary Award with this huge win over Upstate in the play-in game tonight.
Yeah, they were fired up because that's not an award they really wanted to strive for. So they really pulled out all the stops, and they pulled off the 1-point win over South Carolina Upstate.
This was a fun game to watch.
Such a bad team.
Yeah, it was
both bad teams. Come on.
Upstate's had some inspiring performances, Chad. This is not acceptable.
They lost 2 out of 3 to Gardner Webb this year. Upstate is awful.
Yeah, they're going home. Marty Richter. I'm sorry, Marty.
So that sets up High Point and Gardner Webb, perhaps a bit of a mismatch on Friday.
On Friday, they got tomorrow off for the women's quarters, so we'll take a look at those quarterfinals tomorrow night.
That honestly might be the biggest championship mismatch we'll see in any of the 31 leagues. Quite honestly, there's no extremes. There's no extremes bigger than that.
Can High Point win by more than 70 points? I think they might be able to.
They beat them. They beat them 104-49 at one of the games this year.
Yeah.
Why I asked.
The Horizon League in its format should have had the biggest mismatch, but there's too much parity in that league this year.
Yeah.
Over in the Summit League, it was. You want to talk about another
Rocco? I think I need to correct you. The biggest mismatch of any conference tournament game was this Oral Roberts Kansas City game.
It was not that close.
They're playing well.
It was not that close. It was not as close as 22-point final. This was a blowout 3 minutes in.
I don't know if it's the app they're on, but you know how, well, I know maybe not Rocco, but myself, you find yourself in every conference really following 2 or 3 teams, and the Roos were not one of the 2 or 3 teams from this league I was following, and I had forgotten just how awful they were prior to tonight.
They were making their final centenary push. They just wanted to make sure they were on our board all weekend for next week's meetings.
Yeah, they've been lame duck since the coaching change about a month ago. I don't think they've even had a pulse since. No competitive games. And 3 of the games that Oral Roberts has won is against Kansas City since February 12th. But in general, Oral Roberts has got a good offense. They blew out Denver last week, and I think it could be interesting against North Dakota State. They're starting to gain some confidence.
This is a tournament with a history of really lots of drama in this 1-8 game.
Yeah, it could be good. Really good.
Yeah, that's one of two games tomorrow. The 1-8 game. We also have tomorrow the 2-7 game, South Dakota State and St. Thomas, and I think that one's worth circling as well. That South
Yeah.
Dakota State, I think, really underperformed all season to end at that 7 seed,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and the games are in Sioux Falls. So, but those are the two games tomorrow in the
Okay,
Summit
yeah,
League.
this is messy because two are tomorrow and two are yeah, okay, that makes all right.
Yeah.
Hey, Rocco.
Okay, Rocco, we know has to jump off of here, so we'll finish up everything else without him.
He has to
Um,
get on his private jet for this tournament.
Yeah, he's on his way out to the
he's got
Summit
four.
League.
He's got 6 or 7 tournaments to go to tomorrow. But um, Mike, let's jump over to the Patriot League, where we are back in action tomorrow night with quarterfinal day. All 4 games at the same time. We got Bucknell at Navy, American at BU, Holy Cross at Lehigh, Loyola at Colgate. What do you think of tomorrow's games, and do you see any upsets?
Um, well, I don't consider 5-4 an upset, so I won't count that. But um, not really. I mean, Lehigh benefits because they face theoretically the weaker team in Holy Cross, the 10th seed. Um, maybe Loyola of Maryland, Maryland over Colgate, but
Not
otherwise,
not at
I
Colgate. Keep in mind these are at campus
oh,
sites.
that's true.
Yeah,
I really don't envision an upset in any of these games.
I don't
I,
either.
I see America. It's not a huge upset because it's 5-4, but I think American goes into BU and gets that victory.
Up on the roof? You think
Up
they
on the
can go up
roof.
to the roof? All right.
American played a lot better most of this season. They kind of fell
They
apart
did.
towards the end of the season. I
Yeah.
think this is their chance to kind of restart things here. And
Yeah,
I
but
think
on the roof. I mean, that's
on the roof.
yeah.
Uh, we have 3 conferences kicking things off tomorrow, beginning with a conference that I will be at. Uh, it
The
is
Mac.
it is opening round day in the Metro Atlantic with Sacred Heart Iona, Fairfield, Manhattan. Since I will be there coming to the games, I guess I'll take this one. Uh, as far as tomorrow's games go, I do not see an upset. I think Iona is a little bit underperformed this season, and I think Sacred Heart overperformed to even make qualify for the MAC tournament. Um, and Fairfield I think, is probably the hottest team coming into this in the conference heading into this tournament. And I'll put it this way here. I wish Marco was here to comment to see if he agreed with me. I'm going to have a crazy pick for this conference tournament. I think you're going to see this bracket blow up on the bottom half of the bracket. You're going to see Fairfield playing Mount St. Mary's in the semifinals. You can see Fairfield in the championship game where they're going to lose to 1 seed Merrimack.
I want Merrimack to win this tournament just because I think it's a
That's
great
what I'm calling.
storyline.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
calling Merrimack. But I
Yeah,
think the
good.
bottom half of the bracket goes crazy.
Yeah, they've actually won a conference tournament before, but they weren't allowed to play in the NCAA tournament. I just think that it's a good story, a recent transitional team. They've had an incredible year. Um, we'll see what they do, but they got to be. I mean, Sacred Heart's talented. They've kind of underperformed a little bit. If they get by Iona, which is a big if. It's we've seen
I'm
some
not
crazy.
worried about Merrimack against that 8-9 winner. And honestly, I think Quinnipiac and Marist are 2 teams that have been beat up a lot this season.
Yeah,
I think Merrimack cruises into the championship game.
yeah. Now, if Tim Cluse was still at Iona and they were the 8 seed, I'd be taking them to win this tournament because that's just what they did.
All right. One more opinion. Stalika, who wins the Metro Atlantic?
It's amazing Griggs mentioned that because I think Tim Cluse actually had more success at Iona than Rick Pitino did. But I also think if you're looking for a wild card, Mount St. Mary's is actually the defending champion in this league. And I would think if the Mount does get to the semifinals against Fairfield, I could see him getting all the way to the championship here. But my guess, if I had to go, even though if they are a little bit beat up, I probably would go Quinnipiac as my pick.
Okay.
Ooh.
That'll be a fun big team to see win as well.
Yeah, it would be.
Let's jump over to another conference starting off. It is opening round day in the Missouri Valley, Arch Madness, with the 8-9 game between Southern Illinois Drake, the 7-10 Valpo Indiana State, and the 6-11 UNI Evansville games.
Yeah, this is I think among under the radar conference tournaments, this is one of my favorites. And Bump, the yeah, you have the lower seeded teams playing each other in St. Louis, and that's where the tournament should be in perpetuity. Um, just trying to think if I predict any upsets. Maybe, I don't know, not really, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think tomorrow is going to be a chalky day.
Yeah, I do too. I don't even know if the games will be that good. They will be in the later rounds, but
They will, especially if we get to a Belmont Murray semifinal. That would be a ton
yeah,
of
Oh
fun.
yeah.
You know, Chad, we're not supposed to have like two OVC championships in the same game or same day because you're pretty much going to have the legacy championship between those two teams.
yeah.
I also, if you are a metrics person, Northern Iowa,
Northern
after
Iowa
has the
is a
second best
live
metric,
wire team.
to come out of the sixth seed, they could make a run all the way to the finals, even, I think.
I think they can. I think they will. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they'll get at least to the semis. That is a live wire team that underperformed at times, which is why they fell down to the sixth line. But their ceiling is high, and I almost could see them winning it. I would be tempted to pick them is kind of a dark horse to win the whole thing, even though they got to play that opening round game. But the thing is, I think they're going to be so far ahead of Evansville very early that they'll be able to rest their guys.
Yeah, that's huge. That's
Yeah,
huge. If you can not only win, but win in a blowout so that
yeah,
your starters don't have to play extended minutes. And when you don't have any days off, that's huge.
yeah.
Uh, One more conference starting off tomorrow, and it's not quite a stairway to seven, but it is a stairway to six.
6.
Stalika, opening round day in the West Coast, where Portland takes on Pepperdine and LMU takes on San Diego in two games. Where I've got to ask you, do you care who wins?
No.
I would just hope Portland could at least pull off a few upsets just so they could have a third crack at Gonzaga. However,
Ooh, that's a
again, I
long
don't.
amount of
Mm.
upsets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, at least look at the half they're on because it's San Francisco and Oregon State who haven't exactly lit the world on fire. In fact, you've got both Oregon State and San Diego are going to have new head coaches for next year. But I
Yeah,
think as far as who's going to win tomorrow, probably going to be Portland, and maybe I would take San Diego here, given that they're playing with a little house money for one day at least.
I think LMU probably wins this one big.
Yeah.
But let's go with the other question here, Griggs. I mean, we're going to get to the Santa Clara NCAA tournament debate, especially going with Sunday's game, and at least they got to get through that one. Maybe I think they're probably in even if they lose that game on Sunday. But the bigger
Yeah.
question at the end of the day, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Santa Clara, someone else, who wins this?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to go out on a limb and this is going to be. I think we're going to see Gonzaga and St. Mary's in the finals
Wow.
for an amazing 83rd year in a row
Wow.
or whatever it is.
He went way out there. And who
Way
wins
out.
it?
Going
Who
out on
wins
a
it?
limb.
Yeah.
Who wins? Gonzaga or St. Mary's? Pick a team.
St. Mary's. I know that that's an odd team to pick. I was really impressed with how they played in their last week of regular season play, albeit those were home games. But I think the Gales are really playing well. They're playing better than what their profile indicates they are.
All right. Mike, you agree with him?
I'm going to go with Gonzaga. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if St. Mary's wins the tournament, but I'm going to go with Gonzaga.
I'm with you, Mike. I'm going with Gonzaga over Santa Clara in the championship game.
Wow.
Ooh.
And if that's the championship game, I think that's enough to get Santa Clara.
Oh, Santa Clara's a lock at that point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if they make it to the finals, no doubt.
If they beat Pacific and St. Mary's or Seattle and St. Mary's, they're definitely a lock. That's everything. That's all the games tomorrow. So let's check in on our survival board.
Yeah, it was a busy day today.
This is where we were yesterday heading into the day. This is our NCAA Tournament Survival. You can click on it right there. And after the games last night, we had 330 teams left with a chance to win it all.
Yeah,
As a result of all the games today,
and Gardner Webb was one of them, and they still are.
they are. Mississippi Valley State is still on the list.
Yeah, they are. Mississippi are. Yeah, they are. They're still on the board.
As a result of today's games, 312 teams left. We are going to go under 300 tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But let's what is this board here? Because we got a lot of information down here too, Chris.
Oh, I mean, This is just a board with lots of information on it. And what it is, it's just sort of the cornerstone of the selection process. It's the most valuable tool they have. It's not team sheets, it's not the net. It's nothing like that. It's it's this board.
Well, there's teams that have different colors and different columns here. So, for example, teams that are locks like UConn. What does
Yeah.
that do for the committee? What does that tell
Well,
me?
I mean, they come to this board, they see that UConn's in blue and that they're a lock, and they know to select UConn, even if they don't win the auto bid.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what if a committee member is thinking about selecting DePaul, who's listed as auto bid only? What would this
And
tell
they don't get to see a lot of basketball. Maybe they caught DePaul on a good night. Maybe the first time they've seen DePaul is in the Big East tournament and they see him win a game. And they might think, well, we should select this team. They look pretty good today. Well, then they would come to this board and realize, oh, no, we can't.
What though? What about if they were thinking about Seton Hall?
Well,
That's green under consideration.
they probably shouldn't select Seton Hall, but they should at least debate them.
They can think about it. They can think
Yeah,
about
they
it,
can think
especially if they
about
get
it.
another win or two before we
Yeah,
can. That's our survival board, though. And I guess we want to touch on one more thing here.
yeah.
Greg's last couple of nights we've been looking at.
Oh, this is talk
But
about another
I invested my
amazing tool.
$700 into your Griggs AI
Yeah,
system here.
this is just we're in the AI age. I wanted to create something that was affordable, that people knew how to use, that just genius level intelligence here, and that's why I created Griggs AI. Sales are a little off.
Sales are a little off. Well, what I want to do is feed another question in here because we got some controversial answers the last couple of nights. So I went to another AI site and I asked them what are the best college hoop teams from outside the Power Four conferences this year, and can any of them win it all? And you can see its answer here. It talked about UConn and Gonzaga as the ones with the best chances. Mentioned St. Mary's, even mentioned St.
St.
Louis.
Louis, yeah.
Utah State mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, these
Santa
are all
Clara, we were
teams
just
that,
talking about them.
yeah, I mean, these are, if you follow Hoops HD, I mean, you know about these teams.
Yes, so I want to try to feed that same question into Griggs AI
Yeah.
to see what are the best college hoops teams from outside the Power Four conferences this year. Can any of them win it all? Just see what Griggs AI
Oh, Rocco's
would say
back.
with that.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Hey,
Oh, yeah,
Rocco's
yeah, yeah.
back.
Rocco, you're in time for Griggs AI. This
it's my
is,
favorite part of the show.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's calculating, it's figuring it out.
This is a great question. When I look at teams outside the Power Four conferences, I look at teams like Arizona, Duke, and Michigan. I believe that these teams may be good enough to compete against the best teams from the Power Four conferences. They're not going to get as much respect because they are under the radar, but they are still very good.
Sure about that answer, Griggs?
Well, I mean, power conference is just such a relative term. I mean, it doesn't.
Let's just go to any other final thoughts here. Mike, let me start with you.
Oh man, this is the start of the best 2 weeks of college basketball with all these conference tournaments and especially with the under the radar conferences. I mean, this is it. It's not like the big conferences where you have a safety net where it's like, oh, if we win one but we lose the next game is, we've done enough, blah blah blah. But under the radar conferences is like you got to win the darn thing, and there's no safety net. Your season ends with a loss. So this just makes it that much more exciting. The teams are going to fight extra hard, and it's great, terrific.
Salika.
If we're talking about the Sun Belt Women's Conference, either something very good happened, something incredible happened, or something bad happened. And this
Oh,
would fall under the line of something incredible here. The Stairway for Seven actually became ejection for seven because in the game between Coastal Carolina and South Alabama, there was a fight that ensued with I think one of the Coastal players striking the a South Alabama player and actually ended up inadvertently injuring an official in the process as well, where both of the Coastal and South Alabama players were ejected, along with seven other people from USA. And I believe, I think three of the players from South Alabama are going to be suspended for tomorrow's game due to their, I guess, upgraded roles in the fracas from earlier today.
yeah, there were some hefty suspensions that came out. Rocco, give you a few extra minutes here to get any final thoughts. I know you missed a few of the conferences, but go for it.
Yeah, well, Arch Madness is tomorrow. I know
Yes.
it's not the most wonderful Friday ever, but we'll get that in 2 days, which is the four quarterfinals. But I'm looking forward to the Indiana State Valpo game specifically. Valpo has been a team I've been loving to watch this last 5 to 6 weeks of the year. Took a buzzer beater loss on Saturday to Evansville. I don't think it ultimately impacted the seed, but just took them off course a skosh, losing by 1 point there. And Indiana State is a team they beat by 1 point 2 weeks ago. And the Sycamores, on their senior day, really destroyed UIC. Very impressive finale, especially when Sycamores had lost six straight. But if you've been following the Missouri Valley, the Sycamores have been in most of these games. The two times they played Valpo, they lost by one at Valpo, and they lost in OT in Terre Haute. I think that's the game to watch tomorrow in the conference tournament. I fully expect Southern Illinois and Northern Iowa to advance. Would be very surprised to see a Drake or a Evansville win. And then I think outside of that, the other conference tournament that I got my eye on for tomorrow, like you said, we talked about the Summit briefly. It's certainly not the WCC. It's way too early to talk about that. But I think the Patriot League, could be interesting. American Boston U, they just had a great battle to end the season, and Boston U got the job done. And that's why the game tomorrow is at Boston U. The winner of that game got to host. They knew they were going to play each other in the 4-5, so that's some good theater because they just went toe to toe. And Boston U, keep in mind, they go 8 out of their last 9 in the win column. And not anybody's really been able to touch Navy this year, but maybe Boston U's getting hot at the right time. If they can beat American, they'll get a crack at Navy most likely in the semis.
I'll tell you what, Griggs, before I go to you, we got one more face jumping in here.
Okay.
Ivana, great to see you. And any thoughts to just throw out there to everybody as we finish up our show about anything you saw today or anything that's coming up?
I don't even know who won what games. I've
Well, why don't you tell us about the driving you've been doing today then?
Yeah.
How about that?
it's almost 1 a.m. and
Yes, it is.
I just got home like 15 minutes ago. Um, yeah, so I've been driving since 8 a.m. Eastern time, and you know, you gotta get the officials to the game at least an hour and a half before the game starts, and then you have to pick up the other officials and take them to the hotel, and then you have to pick up the new crew and take them to a different venue, and then you have to go back and pick up the other ones and take them to a third venue. So I did see the thing about the ref, the ref being knocked out. I did
Yeah.
see that. But the only games that I had eyes on were the ASUN games that I was at, because it was just nonstop driving, and I didn't even see those games fully because I was on the road a lot. But
Just for everyone wondering, you were in charge of driving all the officials to the venues in two different venues down there in the ASUN today, right?
correct, yeah. So 22, because I do the women's also. So 22 total games. So we are 8 games in, and 14 to go. So it's fun. It's great. I honestly, it's very exhausting, but it's kind of cool because everybody's exhausted because everybody's there for that amount of time. Everybody's just doing different roles, so it's kind of neat to have that like camaraderie where everybody's just tired, but it's been a great tournament so far, and they did a really good job. And I can't wait for you all to see the arena starting tomorrow. Well, women's go there tomorrow and men go there on Friday. They did a really good job with the decor and just the aesthetics and the court. So it looks really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. But as far as the team, so I can't speak on them until I catch myself up on everyone else, which I'll do that tomorrow. But Central Arkansas, West Georgia, they continue to fight. They grinded it out today. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We've got some all those bye teams are going to play on Friday. So, but yes, I will get caught up on the rest of the leagues. I just try to jump in while I could, so I was hoping you guys can shed some light on what happened today. And I
Well,
can
now
learn
that the
from
show's
you.
over, you can go back and watch. You can catch up on everything.
Well, this is the
Yeah,
show.
I will do that.
Yeah.
I mean, how I find out what to talk about these shows is by watching these shows. You know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
There we go.
Vetta, was this the day it was like a 5 and a 7:30 tip off, so you have to like go to different arenas?
Yeah, so for these 3 days, for Tuesday,
5
Wednesday, Thursday, it's noon, 2:30, 5, 7:30 for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so it gets very, very tight,
Oh,
especially
so
in that.
you've done this multiple times then? That 5 just making the 30-minute or whatever 20-minute drive
Yeah,
and
it's yesterday. Yeah, it was the same schedule yesterday and today. So I've done it 2 days in a row now with the 12,
one more time.
2:35, 7:30, and tomorrow it's the same thing. And then once we narrow it down to 4 teams, then it'll spread out a little bit. But yeah, so it's and that third game, like between the second and the third game, gets tough because it's like rush hour. So yeah, I mean, so far so good. We haven't had any issues. Everybody's gotten where they need to be and everything.
Yeah,
But
that's maddening.
yeah,
so
it's
there you go. That's the behind the scenes as to how we got to
Yeah.
get officials to games. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
we cover everything here at Hoops HD.
There's no teleporting,
Right.
it's just actual driving.
And
Well-
Yvette is doing this for all 31 tournaments, driving these people around.
I think on that note, Griggs, any other final thoughts from you, and we'll close it here.
Just what the drum I've always been banging. If you looked at the atmospheres at the Horizon League throughout the whole quintuple final, Green Bay had a great atmosphere last night. Bobby Moe was bonkers tonight. Wright State was decent. And, comparing that to some of the other empty, cavernous arenas at predetermined sites, can't we get these under the radar conference tournaments back on campus sites? And my second thought is that, it's almost 1 a.m. and I'm about to pass out.
All right. On that note, I do want to thank everyone for joining us. We will be back again at some ungodly hour tomorrow night to recap all these games as well. But until then, on behalf of David Griggs, John Stalika, Iveta Bramian, Mike Cha, Rocco Miller, I'm Chad Sherwood. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you again tomorrow night.